Fellas was popping. Ladies was shaking. It's your boy Flaw 700. And before we get into this video, man, make sure y'all hit the like button because you know you're going to like it. Subscribe to the channel, man. Help it grow. Share with a friend. Let's get these views up, all right? I appreciate y'all. Let's get into it, man. I don't believe in wasting time. The GOAT conversation of hip hop, of rap music, right? Depending on who you asking, depending on, where you're from, majority of the time, the GOAT conversation is going to have Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, Snoop, Ice Cube. I think that kind of really where it stops. They fluctuate, those six names. Snoop being the most recognizable hip-hop figure ever. Everybody knows who Snoop is. The impact Ice Cube has had on hip-hop when he wrote every song for the NWA and then his solo career. Like Ice Cube's impact is still felt to this day. I mean, when NWA was dropping their projects talking about their communities, and it got the attention of New York rappers. And not saying that Ice Cube was the first guy to write about their shortcomings, but over here in New York, let's keep it a buck. It was a lot of Run DMC. It was a lot of sucker MCs. It was a lot of I'll drink your style down. It was a lot of New York was battle rapping, just trying to prove who's better. And over there in the West Coast, the NWA, they was talking about street knowledge. And as you can see now, majority of hip hop is talking about what they're going through. I'm not saying that the NWA created it. I'm just saying that once Ice Cube and them did it, it just became a thing. Tupac. I mean, listen, Tupac, I believe, don't quote me on this, passed away at the age of 24. But this young man had a career like he like Tupac's career. It seems like he made enough music till he was 50. You get what I'm saying? Like his catalog, the stories, the things that he did up until 1996 is just legendary. It'll never be repeated. It'll never be repeated. I mean, this guy shot at cops, and just he was just on both sides of the fence, man. Justice and war. Pac was about justice and war for his people, and he went to war with his own people, and he went to war with everybody else, man. Pac was just that firecracker. And you got Big, man. Biggie Smalls, unfortunately, passed away at the age of 24, too, I believe. And, just the way he changed the game, the way he brought the East back. The West Coast was dominating, and New York didn't have anything to counter the West Coast. And then Big came along with Puff, and man, they just changed the game. So much that I think that Biggie's impact is felt today as well. You got Nas, who people crowned the king, who crowned the best lyricist, the best rapper when Illmatic dropped. And Nas has been chasing the ghost of Illmatic since 1994. Some, Nas fans believe that everything Nas has dropped has been great. And some have been saying, oh, it's not Illmatic. Oh, it's not Illmatic. I personally think It Was Written is better than Illmatic. But I remember when It Was Written first dropped, the hip hop heads were like, oh man, this ain't got no DJ. It don't got no Q-Tip on it. Oh, it don't got no Pete Rock on it. It did have DJ Premier on it, but it didn't have certain producers on there. And the hip hop heads, quote unquote, were kind of disappointed in It Was Written. But Nas has, to this day, has 16 projects. Jay-Z, I mean, self-explanatory, right? He was like the last to drop out of the GOAT conversation. He was around like 26 when Reasonable Doubt came out, I believe. And ever since Jay-Z figured out the formula to win, he has not took his foot off the gas. You understand? Like Jay-Z has been great. I wouldn't say he has mastered everything, but Jay-Z has been great at everything. You get what I'm saying? Like there might be better rappers on the list, or it might be better than this, but Jay-Z has mastered everything, where everybody else kind of has not mastered everything. This is why Jay-Z is like the most successful out of all of them. But I'm making this video to ask the people, is it time to take Big out of the GOAT conversation? Because I was on Twitter and I saw this tweet about Nas and his accomplishment with King's Disease 3 and how a certain individual was impressed by it so much that he had to change his order. His order was, at the time before Kane's Disease 3 dropped, was Nas was number 4 on his list. In front of Nas was Biggie, Pac, J. So I got to thinking to myself, man, is it time to remove Big from this list? Longevity should count. And we can say, hey, Big, he lost his life at an early age, so that should not be held against him. But then you go, well, Tupac has a extenuous catalog. Tupac passed away first. Tupac was the same age as Big, I believe, if not a year younger than Big. And Pac's catalog is just as big as an artist, like I was saying before, who, was rapping till their 40s. Tupac's impact was just bigger than Big's. And I think that we have Big at a certain level because we're stubborn. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Unfortunately, Big, what do the guys say today? I'm not a rapper, right? Because Big, instead of blustering his catalog, he would have rather wrote for Junior Mafia or wrote for other artists or ran a company, because that's where the money came, honestly. You don't really make money off your own projects, and he knew that, which is why he was writing for Little Kim, Little C, Junior Mafia, and putting out Junior Mafia projects, putting out Little Kim projects, signing Cameron. Like, his end game was to be an executive. So at the end of the day, that's kind of like, to me, that's why Jay-Z, Biggie's catalog, kind of like falls off, because when he was hot, he had 2 projects. One was a double album, so you could say 3 projects. But like I said, Pac passed away. Now, Pac was signed before, but that's no short. Hey, your shortcomings is not my problem. I got signed first. I got more projects. And Pac was dedicated to dropping projects. So after the All Eyes on Me double album, he went right back in and did Machiavelli. And he had so many records that was unreleased, he was able to put out albums, after he passed. It's not Pac's problem. Nas, unfortunately, but fortunately, he's still alive and he's still rapping. And after almost 30 years, still putting out classic albums and, having an impact on hip hop, on rappers. Jay-Z just dropped a verse a few months ago and it set the world on fire off the DJ Khaled album. And I can't go on YouTube without seeing or without hearing some Tupac story that you probably never heard of. Like, Tupac is still having an impact on today's culture. Unfortunately, I can't see why Big could still be on a Mount Rushmore unless you're talking about just East Coast or Brooklyn. But I could be tripping, and I know some people are going to listen to this and go, oh, he's stupid, he's dumb. But hey, who's your Mount Rushmore? Who's your top 3? Who's your top 4? Who's your top 5, and why? Unfortunately, Big passed at an early age and he wasn't able to continue his career. But once again, Pac died a year earlier and still has a huge catalog. So guess what? Passing early can't be an excuse. So hey, listen, man, write in the comments what you think, man. Is it time to move on from the notorious B.I.G., or is Biggie submitted, stamped forever just because? If he is, give me a reason. If you don't have a specific reason, if you're just stubborn, if you love Big that much and he should be on the top 3, top 4, just let me know. All right? Peace out.